Oh, I didn't see you there. Welcome back. Now, today, we will get educated again, boys. And don't worry, guessing by the title of the video, you already know what will we be talking about. So, let's get started, boys. And first, let's talk about what was going on in Europe in the 19th century. There were two main alliances between the major European empires, the Triple Entente and the Triple Alliance. Let's quickly explain these two. Now, the Triple Entente included France, United Kingdom, and Russia, and the other one, the Triple Alliance, was a bit older and included Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. Now, let's look at the political situation in Europe at the time. The major empires tried to maintain the balance of power, known as the concept of Europe, which meant to control the power and influence of every empire and to not let any empire take over. Britain withdrew into a so-called splendid isolation, but this was done before the year 1848, and after this year, Ottoman Empire was still in decline, and the so-called New Imperialism was on the rise, with many European empires, United States and Japan on the rise with colonial power. Now, after the 1866 Austro-Prussian War, German states really established their dominance over the other states in the area, and after their win against the French in 1871, they really started their economic and industrial expansion. A German diplomat by the name of Otto von Bismarck negotiated the League of the Three Emperors 2 years later, which included Austria-Hungary, Russia, and Germany. But this was quickly dissolved after the war between Russia and Turkey during the years 1877 and 1878. Now, this really concerned the Austrian Empire, and because of Russia's influence in the Balkans, 1 year later, Germany and Austria formed a dual alliance, and only 3 years after that, in 1882, they formed Triple Alliance when Italy finally joined. It all soon went to shit when Bismarck, who was the main advocate to form a peace treaty with Russia, was forced to retire in 1890. This gave France a chance to get into an agreement with Russia in 1894, which was then followed with Entente Cordiale with Britain in 1904, and the Triple Entente was completed in 1907 with an Anglo-Russian agreement. Don't worry, this wasn't the end of Germany. Yet. As I mentioned earlier, they really started to expand in industrial and economic sense. They started to grow an Imperial German Navy that could compete with the British Royal Navy. But Brits being Brits are just next level in their navy, because in 1906 Britain launched HMS Dreadnought, which gave them a big technological advantage over Germany. In 1911, Germany finally realized that they are no match against the Brits in naval combat, and so they focused on developing their army. In conclusion, Germany expanded its army by 170,000 troops by 1913. France extended their military service from 2 to 3 years, and similar was done in Austria-Hungary and in the Balkans. Apparently, from the years 1908 to 1913, military spending by the 6 major European powers increased for more than 50%. Now, it's Balkan time. Hell yeah! As the Ottoman Empire was in decline, European empires wanted some of their leftovers, while completely ignoring local ethnic leaders. Russians considered themselves as the protectors of Serbia and other Slavic lands, but still preferred weaker Ottoman government in charge at the Bosporus Strait over Balkan Slavic rulers. And at the same time, Austria viewed the Balkans as the essential part for their empire to continue to exist.
No, 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 no! Wait! Wait!
But Austria would ruin all chances of them cooperating with the Russian Empire. For instance, the 1908-09 Bosnian crisis, which began when Austria annexed former Ottoman territory of Bosnia and Herzegovina, coinciding with the Bulgarian Declaration of Independence from the Ottoman Empire. Tensions slowly started to rise, and after the 1911-1912 Italo-Turkish War, everyone saw the weakness in the Ottoman forces. Now, this quickly led to a formation of the Balkan League, an alliance of Serbia, Bulgaria, Montenegro, and Greece. You probably know what I'm going to mention next, right? The First Balkan War. Hell yeah! During the years 1912 to 1913, the Balkan League successfully defeated the remaining Ottoman forces in the region. The same year, in 1912, Albania declared independence from the Ottoman rule, which just increased tensions in the area. As you can see, things are getting quite out of control at this point, and for that reason, major European empires tried to reassert peace and control in the region with the 1913 Treaty of London, which created an independent Albania and distributed reconquered land between Bulgaria, Serbia, Montenegro, and Greece. However, this is the Balkans. They started arguing, which sparked a 33-day Second Balkan War, when Bulgaria attacked Serbia and Greece on 16th of June 1913, but were quickly defeated and lost most of Macedonia to Serbia and Greece and southern Dobruja to Romania. You may ask me now, why am I saying all of this? Well, because the result of all of this chaos was that the countries that supposedly won, like Serbia and Greece, felt cheated, and other European empires saw the potential dangers in the area, including Germany. All these tensions in the Balkans before World War I led to Balkans getting its nickname as the powder keg of Europe. Finally, we are done with pre-war events. Let's now focus on World War I. On 28th of June 1914, Archduke and heir to the throne of Austria, Franz Ferdinand, visited Sarajevo, the capital of recently annexed Bosnia and Herzegovina. A group of very bad boys from the movement called Young Bosnia heard this information and they took positions on the route that was supposed to be taken by the Archduke on his visit. When Franz arrived, one of the members, Nedeljko Čabrinović, threw a grenade at the Archduke's car and injured two of his officers, who were immediately taken to the hospital, while the convoy continued to drive on. Other assassins tried but were unsuccessful, but about an hour later, their car took a wrong turn, and guess who was standing right there on the sidewalk? Gavrilo Princip. He fired two shots, killing both Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie. Exactly 1 month after the assassination, on July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, and they began shelling the capital. Germany, who was helping Austria, was also getting kind of nervous of Russia, so they started to prepare for war 3 days later, on July 31st. Because of Russia's connection with the Balkans, that same afternoon, the Russian government received a letter to cease all fire against Germany and Austria in the next 12 hours. But this wasn't the end of German troubles. Further request for peace was refused by the French, who ordered mobilization of their troops. And at this point, the German government had figured it out that they will soon face a war on two fronts. They decided to use 80% of the army to defeat France and then switch to Russia, and they needed this to be done quickly. So the Germans were on their way to Belgium, but Britain, after seeing this, was like, not today, and they quickly realized what was going on. So they sent a letter to France and Germany just to remind them to be respectful of Belgium. Now, the French authorities did respond back, but the German ones, well, what do you think? On the 2nd of August, Germany occupied Luxembourg, and 1 day later they declared war on France, and on August the 4th, Germans invaded Belgium. Now, what did France do? They were responsible for a massive failure at the Battle of the Frontiers, with around 260,000 dead, including 27,000 dead on 22nd of August alone. Germans now held strong defensive positions inside France. But with both frontiers now being exhausted, this meant that the fighting moved into the trenches, which is what Germany didn't really want. Plus, on the Eastern Front, Russian Stauka agreed to attack Germany. Because of all the technological innovations in military, not much was really accomplished. Like some new inventions were invented, like barbed wire, machine guns, and more powerful artillery for defense. But for offense, they used newly invented gas warfare and the tank. On April 22nd, 1915, at the Second Battle of Ypres, Germany violated the Hague Convention and used chlorine gas for the first time in the Western Front. It soon became the main weapon on both sides and one of the most feared weapons of all the war. Many famous battles took place on this Western Front, such as the Battle of Verdun and the Battle of the Somme. But now, let's also quickly mention the Eastern Front. As I said before, Russia joined the war and quickly found success in occupying Austrian Galicia and East Prussia. But soon they ran into problems like quick mobilization, which meant they left their heavy equipment and other supplies behind. This contributed to their defeat at Tannenberg and Masurian Lakes in August and September of 1914. By the spring of 1915, they retreated from Prussia and Galicia, and in May of 1915, Central Forces invaded Russian-occupied Poland. Now, Russians kept pushing the offensive, but suffering heavy losses and the lack of supplies costed them their victory. Well, not all was that bad, because their offensive caused the Germans to divert their supplies from Verdun to the Eastern Front, and they also convinced Romania to join the Allies on 27th of August. Plus, they fatally weakened Austrian army. Also in Russia, a revolution was starting, with communist revolutionaries overthrowing the government and establishing a communist regime. In December of 1917, the armistice was signed between Russia and Germany, and on March 3, 1918, the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk was signed, which meant that Russia was officially out of the war. During all of this chaos, US also joined the action on 6th of April 1917, when they declared war on Germany. Now, why, you may ask again? Well, let's just say that the Germans were being very bad boys and sank American merchant ship on February 3rd, 1917, and continued their actions with destroying 9 more. Now, let's quickly say something about the Balkans during the war. Hell yeah! Beginning in August of 1914, the first Serbian campaign started, with Austrian and Serbian forces clashing in the Battle of Cer. It took place around Cer mountain and city Shabac. Now, not long after, Austrian morale was starting to drop, and in panic, many Austrian soldiers deserted. Because of all of this, Serbian forces quickly recaptured Shabac and surrounding villages, which is the first victory by Allies against Central Forces. Another famous battle was the Battle of Kolubara, which took place on November and December of 1914. During Austrian third invasion attempt, they captured an important town of Valjevo. Because of this, Serbian forces needed to retreat, and so they retreated from Belgrade at the end of November. But do you remember what I keep telling you guys? This is the Balkans. Serbian forces played an Uno reverse card on Austrians and launched a surprise counterattack. Valjevo and Užice were retaken soon later, and Austrian forces completely retreated from Belgrade between 14th and 15th of December. In the second Serbian campaign, that was launched on October 6, 1915, Bulgars, with the help of Central forces, successfully invaded Serbia. The campaign was officially over on November 24th, the same year, when the occupied Serbia was divided between Austro-Hungarian Empire and Bulgaria. All of this contributed to the Great Retreat, when Serbian army had to retreat through Albanian mountains during winter of 1915. But hey, this is the Balkans, if you forgot again. Closing in at the end of the war, combined Serbian, French and Greek forces launched the Vardar offensive, which took place between 15th and 29th of September 1918. Only 3 days after starting the offensive, Bulgars lost the Battle of Dobropolje, and by 25th of September, French and British troops were already across Bulgarian borders. 4 days later, Bulgaria officially capitulated. Now, one important thing to mention here before we move to the end of the war is the Italian front. In April of 1915, Italy was like, let me switch sides and join the Allied forces. Now they tried to push through Slovenia, quickly capturing Ljubljana and then focusing on Vienna. But they were met with one problem. When they wanted to cross the Socha River, they first needed to defeat the Austro-Hungarian forces in the mountains above. But to do that, they needed to cross the river first. So basically, it was almost impossible for them. The casualties on this Italian front were enormous, with some numbers even saying around 1.2 million people dead. Around 30,000 people that died during fighting were ethnic Slovenes living there, and of course I am talking about the Isonzo front, or in Slovenian, Soška fronta. It was a series of 12 battles that took place in the Alps and along Socha River. Now let's finally get to the end of the war. Now soon after capitulation of Bulgaria on 29th of September, Italians began to push rapidly, and on 3rd of November 1918 they defeated Austro-Hungarian Empire in the Battle of Vittorio Veneto, and the armistice between the two was signed. This indicated the end of the war that followed only a week later. The Ottoman Empire also surrendered on 30th of October after the successful Vardar offensive in the Balkans. Austro-Hungarians were defeated. Germany didn't have any spare troops, and so the Ottoman Empire was left on its own to defend Constantinople against Allied forces. Germany was now the last of Central forces still fighting in this war, but it wasn't looking good for them either. The morale was low, and with the new government in place, they started to negotiate their surrender. German Revolution, that was also starting to form at the same time, didn't really help their situation, and so on November 11, 1918, Germany officially surrendered from the war. Now, what was the aftermath of all of this? To put it as simple as possible, 4 major empires were lost: German, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian. Many nations regained their independence, and a lot of new ones were created. 4 dynasties fell: the Romanovs, the Germans, because I don't know how to pronounce that word, the Habsburgs, and the Ottomans. Belgium and Serbia were badly damaged, as was France, with around 1.4 million soldiers dead. Germany and Russia were also badly affected, and with the Treaty of Versailles, the Central forces felt humiliated, especially Germany, and the consequences of this were even seen later on in history. Oh, finally, this is it for today. Now, I know I didn't put everything inside, and if I missed something, don't get triggered. I will make more videos like this in the future, but until then, stay safe, stay educated, and until next time, boys.